Local. Breaking news. This is WYFF News 4 at 5.
We have gangs, we have drugs, and we have cell phones in prison.
An executive order by the governor hopes to stop the mounting problems at South Carolina's prisons, what it all includes.
10 new officers could soon be walking the streets of downtown Greenville. Why the community says they're needed.
Slow-moving storm system continues to produce scattered showers and maybe even a few thunderstorms around the area. I'll have the latest coming up next.
1 week after the deadly riot at Lee Correctional in Bishopville, Governor Henry McMaster has declared an emergency at South Carolina's prisons.
The governor last night signed an executive order designed to increase security. Tim Waller is here with some of the details, including what that order includes. Tim?
Nigel and Gabby, at the very top of the list, of course, is hiring more corrections officers, and quickly. Governor's orders allows the State Department of Corrections to temporarily stop following state hiring rules to be able to fill more than 600 vacancies. The order, as you can see, also calls for pay raises for current and future corrections officers, and it sets aside $7 million for netting that'll be placed over the prison fences to stop contraband cell phones from being tossed over by somebody outside. The executive order was signed exactly 1 week after 7 inmates were killed and 22 were injured at the Lee Correctional Institution in Bishopville. Senator William Timmons, who sits on a Senate committee overseeing the state's prison system, hopes the governor's order will help attract and keep hundreds of new officers.
They're not really paid that well. So increasing the amount of money that they're receiving and removing some of the impediments for procurement for the Department of Corrections gives them the ability to attract more candidates to be corrections officers.
Lawmakers could raise pay for corrections officers even more. 2 bills, one in the House, the other in the Senate, could raise officer pay by another $1,000 a year. Nigel?
Tim, thank you. As Greenville grows, so do concerns for public safety.
Madeline Hackett is joining us now live from downtown Greenville. And Madeline, does this mean we're talking about more police officers?
Well, they're hoping to add 10 officers to downtown Greenville's patrol unit. And while fortunately we've seen nothing to the scale of what happened in downtown Toronto yesterday, city safety and security continues to remain at the forefront of everyone's minds. Terror on the streets of Toronto, with 10 dead and 15 injured after a van plowed into a busy sidewalk. Police departments across the country continue to ramp up their presence in busy downtowns, and Greenville is no exception.
These 10 additional officers will kind of play into our policing philosophy, and that is preventing crime, promoting public safety, and really ensuring the well-being of folks that come to live, work, and play in our community.
These officers would be specifically designated for downtown's Central Business District, which runs from Floor Field to Noma Square. Currently, there are 23 officers that patrol the area. The proposal brings that number to 33.
Security just gives people peace of mind. People have peace of mind, they don't do crazy things.
I think it's a good idea. First of all, it just gives people a better feeling of security. The police in Greenville are not they don't harass you, and you give you a general sense that it's a safer place to be.
Many hopeful that these officers will resemble those with whom they serve.
The more the police look like the community, we need to have a racial mix of the police force that matches that of the community which they serve. I think it's wonderful.
And this would cost the city's general fund budget $1.2 million. If approved, the department would then go about hiring and training these 10 new officers. Live in downtown Greenville, Madeline Hackett, WYFF News 4.
All right, Madeline, thank you very much. And I am here in the studio with Chief Meteorologist John Sesford. John, I was complaining a little bit about this rain, but you were telling me there is a silver lining?
Yes, the pollen. And we're all suffering from it. It's been so high.
Terrible.
Oh my gosh, it's been awful, especially the tree pollen, Gabrielle. Well, we've washed it away, at least for a brief period of time.
That is good.
You know it's going to come back to haunt us.
The green stuff.
The green stuff. But at least this green stuff is washing away the other green stuff, which is the pollen. Now, as far as the mold is probably in the medium category, which is still not too bad just because of all the moisture in the air. But we've washed away, for the most part, the grass, the trees, and there's weeds. as far as that pollen goes. So off and on showers with some brief moderate to heavy rain. Would be surprised to hear even a couple claps of thunder, especially in the eastern part of the upstate. So going through the next 12 hours, it really looks like this. We're talking about a 40-50% chance of scattered showers, mainly this evening. I think after midnight tonight, things will start to slack off pretty quickly as far as the precipitation. Same story in the mountains. Best chance of scattered showers and possible thunder showers will be just this evening. But then more precipitation will develop over the next several days. I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Now back to you, Nigel.
John, thank you. Greenville County Coroner says both drivers involved in a head-on crash this morning died. The coroner says it happened just after 8 on 96 highway near County Farm Road. The Highway Patrol says both drivers were pronounced dead on the scene. They say one of the drivers was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected.
Highway Patrol is stepping up enforcement in Spartanburg County, reminding drivers to buckle up and obey the speed limit. Over the last 2 weeks, troopers have issued 524 tickets. 201 of those tickets were seatbelt violations. The rest were speed related.
Someone loves you, you love someone, so it's your responsibility to get home to them safe every night. And it's a big part of that is wearing your seatbelt when you climb into a vehicle.
Trooper Joe Hovis, who you just heard from there, says 21 people have died on Spartanburg County roads so far this year. The majority of them, he says, were not wearing a seatbelt.
Authorities in North Carolina say 2 people were killed and 9 people hurt after a car crashed into a passenger van this morning. 8 of those hurt were children. It happened in Winston-Salem. 2 women were both pronounced dead at the scene.
Top Golf has backed out of a location near Charlotte that would have placed it near a historic slave cemetery. Top Golf is a huge outdoor golfing venue that offers food and music. The initial plans were to build on this site in Charlotte near Interstate 85 and West Mallard Creek Church Road. Neighbors protested the plan and Top Golf pulled out, but developers still want to build hundreds of apartments, shops, and restaurants on that land. And last night, the City Council voted unanimously to rezone the area, which would allow the project to move forward with other developers. Now, as we told you yesterday, Top Golf is building here at home off of Interstate 85 and Pelham Road in Greenville. Homeowners nearby tell us they are concerned about the extra traffic in that area.
In our state of addiction, the Haywood County Narcotics Investigative Team announced 3 people have been arrested after 2 pounds of crystal meth found at a traffic stop. Authorities say the 3 were arrested after a traffic stop on Highway 441 in Jackson County. They say the 3 were trafficking the drugs into North Carolina. Authorities say multiple departments helped with the arrest, including the DEA and Homeland Security.
Scary story here. Authorities in North Carolina say a woman has been arrested after trying to abduct a baby from hospitals in both North and South Carolina. They say this woman, Linda Everett, was arrested in High Point, North Carolina last week on warrants issued in New Hanover County. Hospital officials say no patients were injured or endangered.
New tonight, 1 person was killed after a tanker truck crashed on an interstate in Oklahoma this morning. Authorities say the truck went off the road and crashed. 1 person died. Officials say the engine started a small fire around the scene. Traffic in the area was backed up for miles. The identity of the victim has not been released.
Now to a standing ovation for the man credited with stopping a shooter inside a Nashville area Waffle House. Lawmakers cheered on the floor of Tennessee's House of Representatives. Authorities say James Shaw Jr. wrestled an AR-15 out of the gunman's hands, putting an end to a shooting that had killed 4 people.
It's definitely like a life-changing moment, and I'm going to try to use this moment that I'm in as a platform to maybe bring awareness to just shootings and just violence.
You were there.
Lawmakers honored him with a resolution calling Shaw a hero. Police say the accused shooter was arrested yesterday.
In a crowded race to replace Representative Trey Gowdy, several candidates aren't waiting for supporters. WYFF News 4 Investigates found 4 Republicans and 2 Democrats in the District 4 race loan their own campaign's money. William Timmons is the only one to get a bank loan. He received $500,000 from United Community Bank of Simpsonville. It comes with a 6.75 interest rate. Timmons' campaign told us it's secured by his business. It can be paid back by the campaign or with personal funds. We posted all of the loans in this race on the Investigates page of WYFF4.com.
President Trump's pick to head the Department of Veterans Affairs says he's disappointed that his confirmation hearing has been postponed indefinitely. Dr. Ronnie Jackson's hearing before the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee had been set for tomorrow, but the postponement comes after allegations of inappropriate behavior on the job.
You've seen the allegations, a hostile work environment, allegations about potentially drinking on the job, over-prescribing medications. Are you saying those are categorically untrue?
I'm saying I'm looking forward to the hearing so we can sit down and I can explain everything to everyone and answer all the senators' questions.
Coming up in about 6 minutes, why President Trump says he still supports his nominee and why Democrats are blasting the White House vetting process.
President Trump is sending prayers to the Bush family and wishing the 41st president, George H.W. Bush, a, quote, speedy recovery. Aixa Diaz has the latest.
A spokesman for the former president says George H.W. Bush continues responding to treatment and is recovering at the hospital. The 93-year-old was taken to Houston Methodist on Sunday after an infection spread to his blood. Family spokesman Jim McGrath says the 41st president wants to go back to his home in Maine this summer. McGrath calls Mr. Bush the most goal-oriented person he knows, and he wouldn't bet against him. Mr. Bush attended his wife's funeral this weekend, taking time on Friday to shake hands with the public during the viewing. Mr. Bush has Parkinson's disease and has been hospitalized several times in recent years with respiratory problems and other infections. In Washington, I'm Aixa Diaz.
And spokesman Jim McGrath says he will provide further details on Twitter.
Take a look at this. Caught on camera in Central Florida. A big gator there stopped traffic as he walked past a middle school slowly. Thankfully, this was a Sunday evening, so kids were not in class. Carl Miranda was driving by when he spotted this gator. He says he thinks it was about 10 feet long.
I'm taking this as an affirmation that I finally maybe have, after 20 years, become a Floridian. So, which is okay with me.
Because you're just used to seeing gators walking around. Authorities say by the time they arrived on scene, the gator had moved on.
I'm Sally Kidd in Washington. The president's pick to lead the VA has been put on hold. Dr. Ronnie Jackson facing some serious allegations.
Slow-moving storm system continues to affect us, as you can see, with scattered showers and maybe even some thunder showers as we go through the night tonight. Talk about it in detail coming up next.